it allows you to try find out a way to get into that particular match. It allows you to find some form of weakness for them. In terms of the picks and the bans, I want to see what Nono is going to be playing on AD carry. We've been seeing a lot of him on Ezreal. It was sort of his go-to champ, so to speak, but it was with Vayne that he had such explosive success. We talked about Freddy, and of course he played Karthus and Elise to real standout performances, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those players or champions in his hands.
Well, looking down the bans, Nasa's going to be taken away from Cyanide here in the jungle. That Leona, a common ban against Fnatic, albeit a support ban, which Enrated, you know, he wants to play Leona, but if it's a ban towards the support, Fnatic will take that any day of the week. Renekton taken out. That's Freddy122's most played champion in the LCS up until now. Shen, well, we don't really need to touch too much on why Shen's going to be banned in any game. And the final ban will be a Thresh aimed over towards Enrated.
So Volibear is still available. The final Sona ban being targeted towards Corellius. It is Corellius' signature champion. Yeah. It's pretty much all he's been playing. He has played, I believe he's played Thresh once and Lulu as well, so we'll see what he decides to go for. Volibear instantly locked in for Against All Authority, so it was one of those sort of high-tier junglers, and it's something that we see out of teams time and time again. They go for that support pick or that jungle pick because it's so safe. You cannot be counter-picked. It's such a powerful champion, and obviously it just gives you that control very, very early on.
We see Jarvan here going to be locked in for Fnatic. We know how good Cyanide is with Jarvan. We mentioned before game one, the win ratio right now, 18 games played, 13 games won. That's a big amount of victories. That's a good percentage for a Jarvan. Varus as well has been a successful AD carry. We've seen some very good Varus play so far.
And in particular, Yellow Star's Varus. If we look at the Fnatic lineup and we talk about the team as a whole over the introductory weeks, 1 through 4, Yellowstar didn't necessarily have the biggest impact on the matches. He was trying to find his groove, was really not able to make a big say in the team fights. Once he picked up Varus about 2 or 3 weeks ago, then he started really putting some massive standout performances in there. He did have some very good plays with Misfortune, of course, which we cannot, count out. But it definitely seems that individually he was able to shine with Varus without the assistance of the rest of the team. So a good pickup. I'd like to see what they run support. We have seen Enrated use Nunu before, and a Nunu-Varus combo, it is very, very powerful, especially because Absolute Zero plus Chain of Corruption just locks everybody in place.
Locks you down. So the next two picks looking like we will be seeing Elise and Zed, two very highly contested champions. Again, we talked about Zed's win ratio is also very strong for Alex in particular. At least we saw in that last game, she's got great damage, got great CC in there. Overall, a fantastic pick, which we know Against All Authority are comfortable with.
And denying that from Xpeke as well. We know how well they were playing it. Last weekend, we even seen Soaz playing Zed. So it's a champion that's being moved around absolutely everywhere. I would like to see who's going to be playing it for Against All Authority, because we have seen Freddy on Elise before, and I don't know if Schleyer plays Zed. So we'll see who's going to be picking, which champion. But we can't predict which lane it's going to go into, because like we said, Against All Authority, they do like to swap lanes. They do like to rotate around. What they have done is they've left open their AD carry and support. Caitlyn and Lulu are still available. So if they want to go for some very early pressure, they might go for that sort of combination. If Nono wants to go for something a bit more comfortable, he might go for Ezreal, or even the Vayne, because we have actually seen him out of that team before.
Well, Lulu's not going to be available. That was picked up by Fnatic in this round of picks, and that Kha'Zix as well. And we've seen, honestly, not too many bad Kha'Zix games throughout the entire season of LCS so far. No, Kha'Zix is just the assassin champ that has been doing very, very well in the right hands, because we've seen Schleyer using him. He actually used a top lane, it might have been against Evil Geniuses, and he wasn't necessarily as mechanically practiced, trying to farm from range in the 1v2 and just missed a couple of those void spikes, which you can't really afford to do at this level of play. So Kha'Zix at the moment, a 50% win ratio, 9 victories, 9 losses. But the victories have been very, very dramatic. Against All Authority have suffered. If I remember correctly, Alex actually tore them apart in the game that we were going crazy, where Edward picked up about 7 million kills on Lulu in the top lane and was jumping around, blowing people up. So it's a scary pick, and I want to see who's going to be playing it for Fnatic. Well, Fnatic now on to their last pick. We've seen Ezreal, a very comfortable champion for Nono. We've already talked about that. And the Cow locked in for Against All Authority. Corellius, as we said, his Sona banned out against him, which again, I mean, he's not going to be happy about because he likes his Sona, but still, that's a support ban, which has left other things available to them. So Alistar going to be in there with Against All Authority. Let's see what Fnatic go with here. We've got Varus, Lulu already in there. We've got Jarvan most likely for Cyanide in the jungle. We've got Kha'Zix, who, quite frankly, Peke also could pick up.
In terms of this now, they're going to decide in terms of the counter because they're fairly confident that Elise and Zed are going to be most likely those solo laners. So they've got Kha'Zix to counter one of them, and they're going to be thinking about what to counter the opposing, champion that we haven't looked at. While they're discussing that, Corellius on Alistar, if that is going to be the support Alistar, because it could be support Elise and jungle Alistar, although that would put Volibear in a weird place. But nevertheless, we'll see what gets locked in there. It's very different to what we've seen Corellius been playing. He hasn't played that sort of aggressive, in-your-face type of champion. He's been playing a lot of Sona, which is a lot more reactionary. You can do flash crescendos, but it's not the primary, kit piece. So I definitely want to see if he can control the bull by the horns.
And we've got the final pick for Fnatic there was Twisted Fate. Now, we've seen what XPK can do with champions like Twisted Fate. We saw his Twisted Fate a couple of times already in the last couple of weeks. And honestly, it's scary. That Twisted Fate is going to be scary. Slayer, though, with Zed in that middle lane, is going to have the opportunity to do a lot of damage to him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to go for some swaps or some trickiness with their AD carry and support. Zed has got very good wave clear, which will help out against Twisted Fate, especially in those early levels. Might try to keep him shoved to his back line and keep him under his tower in your half of the bracket. And it is those the victories, the surprise or the upset matches against the top tier teams that almost guarantee that safety net, so to speak. So we are back into the game, and we'll see what is going to be happening.
Yep, this time around, Peke going for the cloth armor 5 pots. Probably going to do him a little bit better than that Hunter's Machete to start things off. But we are underway here. Let's see what we're going to see right from the start. A couple of wards down already. There's one from Enrated put right down onto the ramp. Didn't want to go any further with that presence of Ezreal there. And as you said, invading against an Alistar is always going to be a dangerous thing to have. Not to mention you've got Volibear there in the flip. You can have the cocoon coming out of Freddy as well. So some dangerous bits of kit for this Against All Authority team at the start.
Fnatic, though, they look to be setting up a little bit. Soaz is just waiting up on top of that grass. I think that's a bait maneuver because Twisted Fate is sitting directly behind him. So if anybody from Against All Authority moves up north to that lane, you see they've got one person visible, and almost, tricking you into thinking it's safe. They'll run away when they move into lane. Nevertheless, it was a defensive posture. They got some wards down near the Wraiths, and Against All Authority will at least be able to see when Cyanide moves in to do his Wraith camp, but they won't have full vision of the camp itself.
Oh, Freddy's actually going to spot the fact there that Peke and Soaz were coming in towards that blue buff. And it's just about making their presence felt there, just to, throw Against All Authority off a little bit in terms of what they can be expecting once Virtual heads into that top side of the jungle. Right now, Cyanide, Yellow Star, and Enrated going to be doing the blue buff. This is going to be a nice bit of help for them as Virtual actually coming across here now. The thing is, Cyanide has spotted that, and he is going to be taking down that blue buff with Smite. Gets rid of the small lizards in the camp as well, and that is a nice little start for Fnatic, and one that's going to set Against All Authority a little bit further back. Yeah,
a little bit behind. It slowed them down in terms of, the timing on getting in there. It wasn't exactly the most opportune, and we see that with the lane sort of resetting. Against All Authority have put their AD carry support middle, they put their mid lane and bottom, and their solo top has remained solo top. So we'll see how well Twisted Fate can do against this duo lane. But one of the champions that can do it very well is, of course, Twisted Fate. He can clear easily, he has the ability to get his mana back, and as long as he doesn't take too much poke from Ezreal, the threat that an Alistar is going to provide is not necessarily the biggest. So Peck is probably going to be quite comfortable in this middle lane.
Yeah, we can see that going about stuff, and has already got himself up to 10 CS, which if you compare that over to Zed, obviously is technically his counterpart, I think we can say, who is obviously down in that bottom laning in the 2v1 against the AD carry and support. He's only got 2 CS right now, so that's the nice start that Peke is looking for.
And the reason for that is purely on Enrated. Look at his positioning here between the minion wave and Slayer himself. So he's going to be setting up to land some auto attacks and some glitter lancers and keeping Slayer down on CS. Cyanide does have double buff, so he's sniffing around in this top lane. Freddy has no vision, which has allowed Cyanide to move into this brush, and he may actually go aggressive. If he can get the knockup, Freddy's in trouble.
Oh, he's landed a good cocoon there, actually on towards Cyanide, going to repel in behind behind him, and that will keep Freddy alive from this one. So a really nice move, landing those skill shots when it counts.
Now, Freddy 1-2 is considered by many of the teams here to be against all authorities, strongest player. When he played Elise against Evil Geniuses, the same thing happened. We'll get back to it in a second. We'll carry on with it because what ended up happening is Snoopy came in for a gank with Vi, and Freddy avoided 2 ganks consecutively with Elise using Flash and Repel, but he's been caught out.
Yeah, he could be in trouble this time around, as we are going to see the Flash going in there. His first blood for Soaz from that one. And just trying to look, Freddy did not use his Flash whatsoever in that encounter.
Red Pot was used by Soaz, so he got the additional 15 attack damage to combine with the rest of his abilities very, very early on. So it just stacked up so high, and the fact that Freddy simply doesn't have too much survivability there just meant he got completely shredded.
Yeah, gone with the door and shield here on his first return home. Just about to say, he's a very solid player, Freddy has been for against All Authority, to the point where I'm going to start calling him Steady Freddy in the future, as Varus is actually coming into this middle lane now. So 3 men hanging around middle. Varus actually decides to back off, or does he? He's chilling in the river right now, trying to throw us off on this one. We are going to see the stun line onto Corellius. He will actually flash away. No, getting out of position as well with that arcane shift. And no gank coming in.
Interesting to see Corellius opting to use that flash. He did avoid the knockup, but he still had both Pulverize and Headbutt available, so he could have knocked one of the threats away. But I think he was afraid of the stacking CC. Didn't want to get knocked up into gold card and then slowed by the hail of arrows. So good play, but flash burn nonetheless. If Cyanide and ironically Yellow Star decide to roam around, maybe next time they'll get the gank.
Well, if you look at the CS there, Zed again compared to Twisted Phase, quite the difference, but we can probably expect that in the way that these lanes have been set up. The top lane though, Kha'Zix's first blood for Soaz, and he's 10 CS already in the lead over Elise, and that's a dangerous thing. We know how strong Soaz is. We know how brilliant he is with so many different champions that you just can't let him get his groove on, really.
And the fact that he's got the Brutalizer in there, he's about to hit level 6, which means those Void Spikes will get leveled up. And at this point in time, the amount of armor that Freddy's sitting on is only around 45 or so. So the armor penetration from that Brutalizer is going to be so key in all of these engagements. Schleier's going aggressive on Enrated.
Yeah, he did go in there, and just the presence, I think, of Yellow Star there forced him to back away from it. Obviously, did have Virtual in there behind him, but they don't want to be taking any risks at this point. We've said it before, as Freddy here actually going to get hit with a Void Spike. Soaz will walk straight through the cocoon, and then you see what that Brutalizer's got to offer.
Yeah, it's just going to shred him completely. So Freddy's going to need to play very passively on this bottom lane, in the top lane rather. In the bottom lane engagement, Schleier went aggressive, but he didn't have Deathmark. So he jumped onto his Living Shadow, the clone of himself, and couldn't follow it up with the Deathmark or anything more. So unfortunately, nothing came of it. Every time he goes up to last hit, you can just see that Yellow Star manages to land an auto attack, lands those, blighted quiver stacks. And if he does stick around too long, they're just going to get popped and have that percentage HP damage.
Schleier just leaving lane there, actually. Yellow Star and Enrated going to be going in to disrupt things a little bit. Virtual was trying to get himself back away. You can see the pushing power there of the Varus Lulu lane. I mean, they've ripped through it straight away. So as here, going in aggressive on towards Freddy again, and just a simple combo there of his abilities is going to force Freddy to probably just leave the lane completely. Yes, he's going to recall. And
he's going to be doing that time and time again. If Elise is further out from the turret, he's going to land that, the leap, immediately follow up the Void Spikes and the Taste Their Fear. The damage is just so good because of the fact that that Brutalizer was picked up so incredibly early. So you have to feel that Freddy's going to need to find some way to pull himself back into this matchup, either by playing very defensively or slowly. The rest of AAA, however, they've come in for a gank or steal the blue buff away. And Cyanide might be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, they managed to pick up that blue buff there, but we saw that Cyanide did slide in there to get those knockups on, but quite frankly, it's not so easy to lock an Alistair volley bear combo down, that's for sure, that are inside of your jungle. So that's a nice little pickup 4 against All Authority. It's going to mean that blue buff can go over to, I don't know, maybe Elise in that top lane, even that Ezreal in the middle lane. Either way, it gives them that ability to work things around. As in the bottom lane, actually, Schleier again took a big chunk of damage as he comes back in towards his lane. We can see Virtual is going to do red and may try and get in on the action in the bottom lane after that.
Something that was actually very important to note, there was the calling from against All Authority. They knew that Yellow Star had backed off. They'd seen him push the wave down, and they made an educated guess that he was going to spend some money. And Nono was keeping Xpeke busy in the mid lane. So they pretty much knew that they had a 2 versus 1, 2 versus 2 sort of engagement at best, and they took full advantage of it. Freddy's returned back to lane. Soaz has actually gone back and picked up that Tear of the Goddess, so he's already going to be starting to stack the mana. And with both of them sitting on, you know, some purchases already, it's still Soaz in control. He's hiding in the bushes and he's going to leap in, land those Void Spikes and maybe try to get some damage. Instead, he's just using them to CS, actually.
Yeah, just get all the farm that he can. He's currently almost 20 CS there in the lead. The AD carries are actually bang on level right now. We see Vamp Scepter, Berserker Greaves already done in for Varus and for Ezreal BF Sword with the boots. On the other side, again, to touch on it, Twisted Fate compared to Zed, 79 to 35 CS. That's more than a double CS lead right now for Peke.
Massive, massive advantage in the hands of Xpeke. He still has not used a single Destiny, so the map presence hasn't even been felt yet. He's just gone for that Seeker's Arm Guard, gone for that additional armor to survive against the likes of Zed, Ezreal, and even Volibear's auto attacks to an extent when he comes in for those fights. But right now, it's literally just a matter of Fnatic almost outplaying Against All Authority in the mechanics, on a swap that Against All Authority performed. I mean, you have to remember this. They put the champions in this particular setup. They have not swapped it or changed it around. So they're committing themselves to the strategy, and it's not paying off for them just yet because Fnatic are going to get the first tower.
Yeah, first tower of the game.
Almost.
Will go down here at some point in the very near future. There we go. Finally, the tower goes down. So we are going to see Yellow actually going in there. Flare just getting out of the way of that one. Didn't want to even risk getting slowed. But again, as you said, Peke not really made any moves into the other lanes, but Soaz is going to go in here on towards Freddy. Can he get the kill down? Nope. Flash was burnt there from Freddy to get out.
And the Ignite from Soaz, he really wanted to get the kill, but he managed to, you know, Freddy managed to get away from safety. Corellius went aggressive in the mid lane to try and get that Flash pulverized combo down onto Peke, but Peke flashed away instantly as well. So the Bull was not able to lock him up with any crowd control. But nevertheless, crowd control or summon spell blown. So if they do jump onto Peke in the next couple of minutes, they have that advantage.
Yeah, one utter shame that he's burned that flash there in the middle, Trevor. Sorry, I had to get that one at some point.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Get that one out there. But anyway, let's have a look down the items because we've not touched on those too much here for this one. Seeker's Arm Guard was done earlier on by Peke. Added that sheen into that at this point. From the top lane, obviously a good CS lead plus that first blood for Soaz. Not only give him that brutalizer, but the tier is now in there as well.
Now, Against All Authority, feeling a little bit of the pressure. They've tried to set up for this Dragon. They do have some numbers advantage because Soaz is getting there slowly. Now, we're going to wait for this engagement to happen. Freddy's taken a little bit of damage in the mid lane, trading with Peke, but the flash from Virtual.
Yeah, Virtual flashed in there, but he's going to die. It's Enrated that picks up the kill. Here comes Soaz from that backside. Ezreal does manage to get one back. The Cataclysm actually goes down, and then he's cancelled away as the Repel comes in on towards Soaz. Fnatic having to back away from this one, and that will be a 1-for-1. Twisted Fate for Volibear. Not sure that Against All Authority are going to be too unhappy with that.
Not at all, especially because it went onto one of the carries that is one of the most vital in this particular moment in the game. Nono getting the gold is going to allow them to at least get some additional damage. Yellowstar has been left alone on the bottom lane to CS and to farm. They will pick up this turret, and if they roll back for the Dragon, it would be a very good call. But Destiny is available for Xpeke, and they need to be aware of it, because if they do engage, Destiny is going to give them vision, and we might see Twisted Fate joining the party.
Yeah, and as I was talking about whether Against All Authority to be happy for that, of course, taking down Twisted Fate is always a big thing for them, swapping that for their jungler, but taking that outer turret in the middle lane is a massive, massive plus point for them. In that, we can see that Virtual has just cleared out this bottom wave and will push that one on through as well. But up until now, 1-for-1 in turrets. If we look at the gold, Fnatic still have a good, steady lead, to be honest, and that's because, well, they're out farming them on every single front, apart from the support, which is 3 difference.
Take a look at the numbers here as well. When you look at Freddy 1-2, 3,200 gold to Soaz's 4,400, one thing that we have to point out is that 500 of that gold has been spent on red elixirs. So he's Soaz is using his second red pot right now. Once that wears off, that's effectively lost money. Yes, it did help them when the team fight. It does help them, you know, with pressure, but once it's gone, it's money you don't get back. You know, it's an investment into instant power. So we'll see if that smaller 800 gold difference really actually comes back into play. But for the time being, Soaz does have the level advantage, and if he does jump onto Freddy, it's going to be significantly easier to get damage or to pick up kills.
Yeah, Freddy has now got that giant spell in, which is going to help him to some extent, but as you just saw there, the Void Spikes landing do already a lot of damage. Yellowstar needs to be real careful here. Macau is waiting inside of that brush off to the side. Lulu did come back into the lane to help out. Jarvan, in the meanwhile, is pushing in through this top lane. So Freddy's going to have to be on his toes, all 8 of them this time around. So he farms out that top lane once again. Tries to at least. Yep. Missing a couple of minions there, which, to be honest, we laugh at that kind of thing, the fact that we're counting them even. But to be honest, in this situation, he needs that. As again, Soaz jumps in.
They're going to go for a dive here unless he manages to back away. You can see Cyanide immediately pushing in and saying, well, Soaz has done so much damage. He can, Soaz could have effectively soloed him if he wanted to. What they're going to do is, instead of taking the tower, just deny that experience and the gold to Freddy to push the difference even further. Allow the turret to pick up those kills, deny that gold, deny that XP to Freddy, and push him further than what's now 50 CS behind already. And a 5-man AAA just to defend their own blue buff, or 3-man rather.
Yeah, in the end, it was actually taken by Volibear there, I think. That'll be a little bit extra for Virtual, who, if we compare his items right now to the jungler, there was Soaz just causing a nuisance, stopping them from getting back as quickly as they will. And no, the timing on that one is perfect, because Fnatic have Yellowstar and Enrated going in towards Dragon. Cyanide's going to go and join that party. He's got that smite available. Peke is there as well. And only really No has anything to do with this one, but he'll throw the Mystic Shot through, but that is it. Dragon goes to Fnatic.
Yeah, completely uncontested as well. No, he does tend to throw those True Shot barrages to try to steal, but Soaz has leaped in.
Soaz going in there. Virtual, actually, he's going to get knocked up here by Cyanide. True Shot barrage comes across, but Zed absolutely melted in the middle of it. Twisted Fate will throw down Destiny to keep that vision up. There's Soaz jumping, not sure in the direction he would have really liked, but Yellowstar flashes in for the kill. Freddy is going to repel. Xpeke is pushing in towards Corralius. There was a flash on the top side used as well, but a double kill will come down for Twisted Fate, and that is 4 kills. Fnatic not going to chase him to finish off Freddy, but that leaves them a turret here in the middle.
Fnatic simply landed every single ability that they needed to. They picked the fight. It was on their terms, at their time, and at their discretion, and they simply destroyed against all authority. They picked up Dragon, they picked up the kills, and now they're on their inner turrets.
Yeah, and that all stemmed from that top lane. They took down the outer turret. They sent 4 or 5 men even up towards that top lane. That gifted Dragon to Fnatic. They lose 4 men, then they lose the outer turret in the middle, now the inner turret in the middle. It just doesn't really get much better than that from Fnatic's point of view.
Textbook play. It is that simple at the moment. 6-1 up. They've increased their gold lead to around about 8,000 gold right now, which is a huge amount at 17 minutes on the clock. You can see the numbers difference here. 4,000 gold top laner is 6,500 on Fnatic. 4,000 mid laner to almost 7,000 Fnatic. I mean, the numbers is just so big. And what it does mean is this sort of all-in composition of Zed, Elise, and Volibear. Not only can they not kill their opponents, they can't survive the damage their opponents are putting down either.
Yeah, and that's the danger when you have to go in there. If you're not strong enough to survive the attacks, and more importantly, even to be picking up kills in there, then, well, what do you really have in terms of what your team is supposed to do in this one? Fnatic, without doubt, going to be spending some of that money here in just a second. Actually, Soaz does already have that BF sword build up. There is Lich Bane finished for Twisted Fate as well. And added in those Sorcerer's Shoes. So overall, Fnatic on a roll at this point in the game. It's going to take a big misplay from them, I think, to come out to end up losing this lead that they've built.
Yeah, because they've got every single tick box checked off. They have map presence, they have teamfight presence. Destiny is up for Twisted Fate. He's going to jump onto Zed.
Yeah, he's going in towards Slayer here. Let's see what he can do. Ward goes down. That will be the stun card landing. Can he get the finisher? Actually, Slayer comes in onto him. Here comes Cyanide. They switch around onto Virtual as the cow comes around the side here. Can he get that pulverized? Yes, he can. Onto Cyanide, but here comes Soaz over the top of the wall, and that's another 2 for Fnatic. Soaz on a killing spree.
Soaz just turned into a butcher there, killing both the cow and the bear with effectively 1 splash damage pull. there's nothing that Against Authority are able to do in that position. They got jumped on from Destiny. They tried to pick a fight, and all credit to Slayer from getting away there, because he was about to go down. He avoided a lot of damage from the death mark, going in that sort of untargetable state and then flashing to safety. But unfortunately, Virtual and Corrales just hanging around a little bit too long. A 10k gold lead right now, and the vision from that engagement, purely from Destiny. There was a ward for Fnatic you can see in the river, which is what Slayer walked over, and Peke said, well, I can Destiny to you and pick up a kill because now I know sort of where you are and you're in range.
Yeah, and I was talking about the BF sword that was picked up with the Vamp Scepter for Soaz there. That's allowed him to get over. Is Expected going to get caught out here, actually, by Freddy. Pulls the stun card. He's not actually going to need it in the end there. As Yellow Star actually going in on towards Freddy as well there in that middle lane. He decides not to keep pushing. Probably wisely so with Corrales around.
Interestingly from Freddy, he still had Ignite available, so he did the calculations. I was looking at Pekka's HP. It wouldn't have killed him, but if he put the Ignite down and carried on chasing, it may have been enough to, pick up a kill. But of course, he would have fed his opponents more gold as well by going down. So that wasn't unfortunately going to play out for them. Now, Soaz, because he is so incredibly strong, he was sneaking around on the side of the walls. He's got 300 damage crit from Nono. Nono's going to be very careful. He feels he can pick this fight, and Soaz is running a little scared. He doesn't want to pick a fight with the bloodthirsty Zeal of Israel.
Yeah, but I actually think if he got on top of him, he'd totally just destroy him.
That's what I was wondering.
Why risk giving that bounty away?
It would have been cooldowns. It would have been cooldowns because he just jumped over the wall with Leap to clear out the wave. Leap is a very high cooldown, 20 seconds right now, so he probably didn't have the ability to jump in and get the entire combo, which is why he decided to just back off and run away, stealth it up and get to safety.
Let's have a look at some of the other items here. Both junglers picking up that Locket of the Iron Solari, actually pretty much identical builds from the stage, at least finishing off that Sunfire cape there, and probably going to be needing that armor against Soaz, that's for sure. On the other side, Zed now has the Cutlass in there with the Brutalizer working up towards that Blade of the Ruined King. Similar scenario for Varus there, of course, with Yellow Stars. We are going to see Soaz coming in on towards Slayer. Where's he going to go? Actually, not very far. It's Soaz did tank up the turret a little bit, but that's an easy kill, and that just shows you how far behind they are at this point. As a True Shot Barrage comes across, won't do a thing.
No, unfortunately not. Soaz was very low. If it did hit him, it would have killed him, but he was well away. He was recalling from safety. Fnatic have decided to set up in this bush. They're going to see if they can pick up some kills, and I love what Yellow Star's done with his items. Infinity Edge first, now working for that Blade of the Ruined King. With the Demacian standard attack speed in his passive, it'll be so strong as Corrales is stunned up, but nobody else from Fnatic wants to take the kill, because of course Alistair does have his, unbreakable will, his ultimate to block up all that damage.
Well, Soaz is now coming back into lane. Nono had started to push things through there on the top side. Not sure whether he'll actually get that turret down. Fnatic still putting the pressure on here in towards that bottom in the turret. There is Nono picking up the turret, but Soaz has got to ulti himself straight in on top of Nono. Actually did miss the jump there. He's going to activate that ultimate one more time, and Nono's going to find it really hard to get away. True Shot Barrage comes down. There is barrier being used, and Soaz did not calculate that barrier into the equation.
No, and Nono positioned himself perfectly. He ran to the creep line. He did not allow the Taste of Fear to get that bonus damage standing alone in an open space. No, you will not pass, Soaz. You will not collect 200 gold for my bounty, but it has allowed Fnatic to start dragging, but they've got it, Freddy.
Yeah, they're going to go straight in. There is the Chain of Corruption down as well. Virtual actually running towards Peke, but he probably needs to run away from Peke at this stage. Get stunned. Wildcards finish the deal. Yellow Star here with Wild Growth on may have to go down as well. Next, Peke now being pressured by Slayer. Cyanide will actually slide in, get the knock-up, and keep his teammate alive. In the meantime, Nono has got that inner turret in the top lane, and Rayton gets Cocoon. Corralius going low, but he's flashed away from it there, and Rayton, he is somehow still alive. Even manages to pick up the kill on Corralius. There's the glitter lance through. Double kill coming in for Lulu, and now Freddy in all kinds of trouble. Lands a good Cocoon as Nono comes in from the side. Soaz now jumps in onto the top of him. This time he's got no barrier to stop that one happening. Soaz picks that one up. Meanwhile, Freddy's still being chased here by Soaz. It's going to be one more hit. There's the Cocoon, and there's the tower to finish it off. Chaotic fight.
It was so good for the first couple of minutes there for Against Authority. They end up trading what was about 4 for 3 probably, because Soaz did die right at the top lane to set that one all off. Fnatic went for Dragon. They picked a fight. Against Authority actually won the battle after Dragon. The problem was they continued chasing. The red mist set in. They tried to get as many kills as possible, and it ended up costing them more. We did see NoNo getting that top inner turret though, so that does play into their favor. They've kept that 8,000 gold advantage in their side of the things, and we'll see if they can get any more chaos their way.
So as again going in on towards Virtual with this one, and you saw Virtual just trying to grab him up there, and he goes ultimate and then just jumps away from that one. So in no danger of that. This time that Blade of the Ruin King almost finished up here now for Yellow Star as well, so as it comes around the corner, Slayer was just moving in towards that Tribush. Slayer now does have the Blade of the Ruin King finish to add in there. Yeah,
Blade of the Ruin King finish, so that's going to allow him to continually chunk down his opponents. That on-hit slow and the movement speed buff that it gives you is so good. Actually, Fnatic turned off the Dragon in that previous engagement, so they're going to try to secure this one now. Cocoon goes out and caught to Minion, was never going to catch Picket. Nevertheless, Drake has now been secured. Actually, Yellow Star not challenged this time around from against Authority, so no need to jump in for a team fight.
Yeah, and then we see again that split push tactic of Fnatic. It's Peke drawing all the pressure on towards this top lane, making against All Authority come and defend it. And that just opens up the Dragon, even though against All Authority did have the complete vision of that Dragon pit. So what have we seen picked up here? Deathfire Grasp coming out for Peke.
The amount of damage that's going to be putting down in Magic is really good, because of course once the proc hits and lands on somebody, all additional magic damage has got that damage spike that gets added to it. So you follow, DFG, Gold Card, Wild Cards, your burst is a lot higher, and Twisted Fate with a lot of items is already a very bursty mage. That item alone just allows him to pretty much insta-gib a squishy target. Talking to too many Americans for that one. Jat always says insta-gib. But nevertheless, I want to see how Peke is going to play this match out now, because he's got items that says, I want to kill people, not necessarily 100% I want to constantly push down towers. He has got those Alacrity boots, which is plus 15 movement speed and allows him to run even quicker. But NoNo's got the red buff down. Will Peke get caught out?
Yeah, he's in a dangerous position here, actually. Needs to be really careful as NoNo comes in right on top of him. Here comes Jarvan from the side, straight in on towards NoNo, but the flip comes out. Here comes Varus from the side. The True Shot Barrage comes in as well. Virtual not going to be surviving that one. Corralius has his ultimate running here, but can he get away now that Soaz comes in as well? Gets the slowdown. Cyanide going further. There is Soaz. He jumps over one wall, flashes over the second, and now Slayer being chased down by a little Lulu here, who's not scared of getting in there for the kills. We saw a double earlier from N-Rated. Exhaust comes down, and there is another one for N-Rated. He is now 4-1-7.
So good from N-Rated. His Lulu is on point. He's managed to secure a number of kills. Soaz has decided that League of Legends is now a parkour map for him, just hopping over walls and boundaries everywhere. Tried to snipe the killer with those void spikes. Now Fnatic can secure a 27-minute Baron, a 13,000 gold lead, and once again, the parkour street running Soaz just hops over the wall to safety.
And one thing I really like there from Fnatic is Peke. Peke died in that right at the start there.
He was caught out.
They waited on the Baron until Peke had spawned in there. I mean, it's basic stuff for these guys, but there's something that certainly doesn't happen in most games that we all play, that's for sure. But what are we at now in terms of gold? It's quite frankly a big lead, 47.5 to 35,000 gold. That's
so as a massive lead. Virtual.
Yeah, this is bad news again. Virtual actually disintegrated. Not much left of that bear. It doesn't matter that he's got armor. Soaz going to jump in here on towards NoNo. Here comes Peke as well. Soaz now on a rampage up at 715. Freddy's going to go into him. I'm not sure it's the best idea as the stun goes down. Can they get the finisher? Yes, one last auto attack from Peke will seal the deal.
3 kills between the two members, and they're just going to continue tearing apart against All Authority. The burst damage that they can put down, the kill potential is so incredibly high. There is very little that AAA can do. You can see even sitting on a tower, they are not safe. Fnatic just jump in and they're doing it again.
Yeah, they're going in this time on towards Corralius. Where's the stun card? Peke not quite able to get in range. There's the wild cards going out almost. Oh, there's a void spikes as well. Corralius did pop his ultimate in the meantime. Fnatic, surprisingly enough, a split push in this one again. They've got that turret so low in the bottom. They've already taken the middle inhibitor turret. The inhibitor itself is going to go down. Zed can't reply fast enough towards that one. And that is 2 very quick pushes coming out of Fnatic. One more card here from Xpeke is going to finish that one off as they're going on towards No as well. And you see, it's just the simple sliding combo from Cyanide plus Void Spikes to hit No. Half of his health gone.
The question for me now is from against Authority, do they decide to just call this game a loss and actually, you know, throw the towel in and say, look, we're done, we're finished, because they are so far behind. There's very, very little that they can actually do in this engagement. I have to give a huge props to Cyanide's Jarvan because he's 1-0-13. He has not taken more kills than he needs to. No deaths on the table, and we talked about how strong Jarvan currently is in the European jungle because we haven't seen too much of him. And I wouldn't expect if we see more of him this weekend, but they're going to try one last effort.
Yeah, here we go. Virtual actually going to fling the Jarvan right into the middle of them. But look at Corralius. He's melting. There is Cataclysm. Two more go down. No, going to be the next target here. That is going to be the ace as Soaz jumps in. Quadra kill coming out for Peke. There's inhibitor number 2. And to be honest, Fnatic, they're going to tank this one up. Peke just needs to use Destiny to get in there. It probably could have gone to the back of the Nexus and gone real Peke style for that one. But Fnatic going to finish off the job here, take down the Nexus and pick up another valuable win, staying in first position. And more importantly for Against Authority, they record another loss.